My name is Mark, and for 15 years, my life with Sarah felt like a perfectly written novel. We were the high school sweethearts who actually made it, building a life together brick by brick. We had 2 amazing kids, a cozy house in the suburbs, and a love that I thought was unshakable. I was a software engineer, she was a graphic designer, and we navigated the ups and downs of life as a team. At least that's what I believed until one ordinary Tuesday morning when my world tilted on its axis. It started with a simple request. My phone had died overnight, and I needed to call my boss to let him know I'd be a little late. I asked Sarah if I could use her phone. Her reaction was odd. A flicker of panic crossed her face before she quickly composed herself. She said her phone was almost dead too and suggested I use the landline. It was a small thing, but it felt strange. She was always so attached to her phone, charging it religiously every night. Why would it be dead now? Didn't push it, made the call, and left for work. But a seed of unease had been planted. That evening, the feeling wouldn't go away. Sarah was acting overly affectionate, almost as if she was compensating for something. She made my favorite dinner, asked about my day with an intensity that felt forced, and kept telling me how much she loved me. It was too much. It felt like a performance. While she was putting the kids to bed, that nagging feeling led me to her home office. I wasn't looking for anything specific, just a reason to quiet the voice in my head. I noticed her laptop bag on the floor, which was unusual. She always kept it on her desk. I opened it, and nestled beside her laptop was a small, sleek smartphone I'd never seen before. It wasn't her usual phone. This one was different, newer. My heart started pounding in my chest. Why would she have a second phone? My mind raced through a dozen innocent explanations, but none of them felt right. With trembling hands, I picked it up. It was locked, of course. I tried a few common passcodes: our anniversary, the kids' birthdays, our old address. Nothing worked. Then, a thought struck me. I tried the birthday of her ex-boyfriend from college, the one she always said was a huge mistake. The phone unlocked.
Ow.
The screen lit up, and my stomach dropped. It felt like falling from a skyscraper. The home screen was a picture of her and another man. A man I didn't recognize. He had his arm around her, and they were both laughing, looking blissfully happy. It was a recent photo taken at a local park we often visited as a family. The betrayal was immediate and sharp, a physical pain that took my breath away. I clicked on the messages. The most recent conversation was from that morning, just after I had left for work. The messages were a gut punch. They were filled with I love yous and I miss yous. They talked about their future together, about how she was planning to leave me. They had pet names for each other. I called her Sunny, and she called him my rock star. I scrolled back, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. There were months of messages. They had been meeting up for lunches that she told me were client meetings. The weekend yoga retreat she went on last month was a romantic getaway with him to a cabin in the mountains. Every lie she had ever told me in the last 6 months clicked into place like a twisted puzzle. The late nights at the office, the sudden girls' nights out, the way she guarded her purse and her main phone. It all made a horrifying kind of sense. I felt like a fool, like a blind, trusting fool. The person I had built my entire life with, the mother of my children, was a stranger. I read through their plans. They were planning for her to leave me after our daughter's birthday next month. She wrote about how she was tired of our boring life, how I didn't excite her anymore. She described me as predictable and safe, but not passionate. To this other man, she wrote, "You make me feel alive, like I'm 20 again. With Mark, I just feel like a mom and a wife. With you, I feel like a woman." Each word was a dagger. The life I thought was a masterpiece was, in her eyes, a dull gray painting. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I stumbled out of her office and went to our bedroom, placing the phone on her pillow. I didn't know what to do. Scream, cry, pack a bag and leave. I just sat on the edge of the bed, numb, staring at the unlocked phone that held the evidence of my shattered reality. When Sarah came into the room, humming a cheerful tune, she stopped dead in her tracks when she saw the phone. The color drained from her face. The cheerful mask she had been wearing all evening crumbled, revealing the deceit underneath. "Mark," she whispered, her voice trembling. "What is that?" "You tell me, Sarah," I said, my own voice eerily calm. "You tell me who my rock star is?" "No." "You tell me about the yoga retreat?" You tell me why you needed a secret phone to talk to him? The silence in the room was deafening. She couldn't look at me. Tears started streaming down her face, but I felt nothing. No pity, no sympathy. Just a vast, cold emptiness where my love for her used to be. She started to stammer out excuses, denials, mixed with half-hearted apologies. "It's not what you think," she began, the classic line. "Oh, I think it's exactly what I think," I interrupted, my voice finally breaking with anger. "I think you've been lying to me for months. I think you've been building a new life behind my back while I was at home, trusting you, loving you, taking care of our children. I think you were a coward and a liar." The argument that followed was the ugliest of our lives. It was full of her tearful confessions and my raw, unfiltered pain. She admitted everything. The other man was a freelance photographer she met on a project. The initial spark had turned into a full-blown affair. She said she was confused, that she didn't mean to hurt me. But the words on that phone told a different story. They told a story of intention, of planning, of a deliberate choice to betray our family. I told her it was over. The words came out of my mouth before I had even fully processed them, but I knew they were true. There was no coming back from this. The trust, the very foundation of our marriage, had been pulverized. How could I ever look at her again without seeing the lies? How could I ever believe anything she said? She begged, she pleaded. She said she'd end it with him, that she'd do anything to fix us. But the image of her laughing in another man's arms was burned into my mind. The casual cruelty of her words, describing our life as boring, echoed in my ears. The next few weeks were a blur of pain and logistics. I moved into the guest room. We told the kids that we were having some problems and needed some space. Explaining that to them was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Seeing the confusion and sadness in their eyes broke my heart all over again. I contacted a lawyer. The process was cold and methodical, a stark contrast to the emotional chaos raging inside me. Sarah did end the affair, but it was too little, too late. The damage was done. The second phone had not just revealed an affair, it had revealed a truth about the person I was married to that I could never unsee. Sometimes late at night, I wonder if there were signs I missed. Was I too complacent? Did I take our love for granted? Maybe. But I also know that nothing I did or didn't do justified her actions. She made a choice to deceive, to build a secret life, and I made a choice to walk away. Rebuilding my life from the rubble has been incredibly difficult. There are days when the anger and sadness are overwhelming. But there are also days when I see a glimmer of hope. I'm focusing on my kids, on being the best father I can be for them. I'm rediscovering who I am outside of being Mark and Sarah. It's a lonely and painful journey, but it's my journey now. The novel of our life together had a tragic ending, but I'm determined to write a new story for myself. One based on honesty, self-respect, and the quiet strength I found in the wreckage of a shattered world.